So for my presentation, I am focusing on intensive animal farming and animal welfare issues. So to begin, imagine being confined in a tiny crate from birth to death, only being fed the bare minimum to keep you alive. It's difficult to imagine this being on the outside of everything, but for productions animals, it's a very real and big issue that occurs globally. Though some people think, why does this matter to me? They're just animals, right? But they aren't only animals. They do have feelings and emotions, and aside from that, they do give us a majority of our food sources. But studies have shown that when treated and cared for in the right ways, these production animals produces way better. So I've seen and experienced some of these issues firsthand as I was growing up on the farm, and I got to watch some of the slaughter operations. The treatment of production animals has a big correlation and effect on the consumption of animals and animal products. In this presentation, we're going to be focusing on educating people on how production animals are raised, how we could increase production by bettering the conditions, and lastly, we will be analyzing the conditions of the animal production industry and see what we can do to improve these conditions. So, animal welfare concerns. The treatment of production animals definitely needs to change. The big companies in the factory farming industries are too focused with trying to make a quick dollar that they throw the animals aside. Factory farming works so hard to lower the cost of the operation while trying to maximize their output. So most of the animals in these factory farming operations are usually kept in very small pens that prohibits their ability to move around freely. Animals that are on the factory farms never experience any taste of freedom. The only life that they know is being stuck in a pen or a crate that are loaded for slaughter. And I would say probably female animals have it the worst. The females are actually just kept in crates their whole lives, and they are just used for reproduction purposes until they can no longer conceive anything. So, production conditions and food safety. Producing animals in better conditions could significantly reduce the number of foodborne illnesses and contamination. So, eggs, milk, and meat are some of the most consumed products in the world. And there's always a bigger demand than there is a supply. And if we were able to increase that supply, we could lower the cost, which would also increase the demand. So, what if we can increase the supply of these products? If we can increase the supply of these products, more demand, products prices go down. But if we could eliminate the conditions the animals live in through these factory farming operations, studies show that the animals could also produce better and more. So, food and safety concerns have risen from the continuation of factory farming. Factory farming operations hold thousands of animals in tight spaces and pens, which make good incubators for diseases. These factories are not cleaned or maintained pretty much at all, but they don't have any sanitation standards. So, animal feces from these factories can be transferred to the slaughter operation, and it contaminate the meat and lead to other foodborne illnesses like salmonella and E. coli. Education, there needs to be better education on how animals are raised for production. We think about education in the meat industry. One of our first thoughts should be thinking of a way to educate the vegan and vegetarian population. Education is definitely very important in the animal farming production industry because without proper education, people tend to make crazy conclusions that have absolutely no relevance at all. Most consumers don't exactly know where their animal products come from at all. Percentages of meat that come from factory farms, about 99.9% of broiler chickens come from factory farms, 98.2% of our eggs, 98.3% of pigs. That includes bacon, pork chops, pretty much anything. Cows, 70.4%, and turkeys, 99.8%. Though most meat and animal products come from factory farms, a majority of consumers do try and say that they will only buy meat that is quote unquote humane, but most of them don't actually know that the term humane meat is just a marketing strategy and doesn't really exist. Though technically humane meat doesn't exist, meat that doesn't come from factory farms could be considered more humane. So I guess grass-fed beef. Because most people aren't educated on the meat production industry, a majority of people will believe what they see on TV or said by celebrities. Celebrities like Miley Cyrus and Ruby Rose have created pretty powerful campaigns against the consumption of meat. Ruby Rose tries to get a lot of her followers, Twitter followers, to convert to veganism. And Miley Cyrus just she speaks a lot about it after she had to put one of her dogs down, and she's tried to raise more awareness to that as well. Also, Kate Winslet and Ellen Page. So, promoting change in the production industry could increase the amount of food that we produce exponentially. There is no need for animal cruelty, and they are not our enemies. They really do more for us than we will ever do for them, and they give us our food source. And though some people believe that animal rights don't matter, they would be screaming the opposite if it was them being abused in the long run. One of my favorite quotes that I saw while doing this presentation is, "Does it ever occur to you why some of us can be this much concerned with animals suffering? Because the government is not. And why not? It's because animals don't vote." And that's really something that I thought of. And if you think about it, there really isn't that much. Um, what's the word? So though I do consume meat myself and meat and animal products, I do still believe that animal welfare definitely is a very important topic that we do need to focus on just because they shouldn't be treated how they are. So, thank you.